Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star 2 Land of Origin based on novel. So let's start. Outside the Dream Flower Tower. Brother Luo he, after all, the 5 great families rule over the entire Huyang city. They will surely have some countermeasures, so you must be cautious, Zhu Yu advised. I understand, Luo Feng nodded. Zhu Yu smiled and nodded, then, I'll take my leave. Immediately thereafter, Zhu Yu and his subordinates rode a black flying boat and disappeared into the night sky. Luo Feng watched as they departed. Master, shall we return now? Morosa asked from the side. I have one more thing to do. Luo Feng instantly soared into the sky, flying high into the night, a scene that caused both Morosa and Moyu Qingyang some confusion. Luo Feng flipped his hand, and a miniature city, Sinful City, appeared in his palm. Looking at the densely packed population of over 100 million citizens within the Sinful City, Luo Feng shook his head slightly. He knew his ability to help was limited. These 180 million citizens, having survived torture, many are mentally twisted, chaotic, or insane. Luo Feng looked at the miniature city in his hand. The 5 great families knew of Mei Wu Qi's evil but have always condoned it, helping to cover up his tracks. These 180 million citizens, each one of them is a living testimony. Luo Feng was well aware that if the population of over 100 million appeared in some wilderness, the 5 great families would probably quietly eliminate them. But if over 100 million citizens were to appear publicly within Huyang City and were discovered by the large population of Huyang City, innumerable people would become aware, making it hard to cover up. The 5 great families would instead have to handle the matter with utmost care, ensuring the situation was dealt with perfectly. Come out, with Sinful City in hand, Luo Feng released the massive population. Whoosh 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 tilde tilde tilde. Countless figures were seen being ejected from the Sinful City, landing in various places around them. The area where the Dream Flower Tower was located happened to be a bustling district within Huyang City. There were also many myriad clans cultivators indulging in the pleasures of the city, and they all saw a large number of figures descending from the night sky. What's happening? These descending true gods seem off. The surrounding myriad clans cultivators could tell at a glance that the true gods falling from the sky had abnormal looks and auras in their eyes. Moreover, the space-time suppression in the land of origin is too strong. True gods are unable to fly on their own, and now with over 100 million true gods descending from the sky, attention was naturally drawn to them. All 180 million citizens landed, scattering over a vast area. Where is this? The over 100 million citizens looked around in bewilderment at the bustling city, so beautiful and peaceful, countless times more so than the Sinful City. I am Luo he. The Mei Wu Qi whom you deeply despised, I have already killed. A powerful voice spread far and wide, and all 180 million citizens heard it, as did countless myriad clans cultivators in the surrounding vast areas. Mei Wu Qi tortured and killed hundreds of millions of citizens, leaving only you 180 million survivors. As victims, I believe the city owner's mansion will take care of you and make amend. Luo Feng's voice, empowered by divine power, reached a far too great area. Even tens of billions of myriad clans cultivators in the surrounding districts could hear it clearly. Mei Wu Qi is killed. Hundreds of millions of citizens were tortured to death. What happened? True gods from their residences stepped out of their houses, looking towards the source of the voice and also towards that figure in the distant night sky. The figure with black hair and sharp horns was indeed Luo Feng. This figure, remembered firmly by Sinful City's surviving population of over 100 million and the tens of billions of myriad clans cultivators. Something big happened in Huyang City. There was someone named Mei Wu Qi who tortured and killed hundreds of millions of cultivators, and the remaining 180 million were saved by Lord Luo he. The ordinary true gods were all stunned, immediately using their transmission tokens to contact their friends and discuss the matter. Tens of billions of cultivators spread the word, and soon the entire Huyang City would be abuzz with the news. Luo Feng watched this scene from the night sky, observing the many survivors who were somewhat insane. City owner's mansion and the 5 great families, when the matter cannot be concealed, let's see how you deal with it, Luo Feng muttered silently. Without the 5 great families' indulgence, Mei Wuqi couldn't have gone this far. Originally, Luo Feng was somewhat inclined towards the city owner's mansion, but because of this incident, Luo Feng felt a disgust towards the 5 great families as well. A bunch of scoundrels. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. In the night sky, squads of Huyang guards were shuttling through the void, arriving in the blink of an eye millions of Huyang guards, with even more continuously on their way. Mei Wuqi privately abducted hundreds of millions of citizens from Fangju City, tortured many, and was discovered by Lord Luo He and has been executed. All abducted citizens, please rest assured, the city owner's mansion will make amends to each one of you. And the city owner's mansion will also hold the Mei Wu family responsible, announced a leader of Huyang Guard in the high sky, his powerful voice spreading far and wide. The city owner's mansion, which monitors the entire city, had already locked on to every one of the 180 million citizens released by Luo Feng. The Huyang guards actively went to guide them. The city owner's mansion has already arranged residences for you. Rest assured, you will be able to live in Huyang City from now on, and you will be forever exempt from the residence fee. These Huyang guards were ordered to act, treating each citizen with utmost care. Forever exempt from the residence fee? The surviving citizens who had lived through it all were somewhat taken aback. Watching this unfold, Luo Feng said, "Let's go, we're heading back." Alrighty, Morosa's eyes lit up, anticipating the joyful moments to come. Mo Yu Qingyang, who followed behind, was adjusting her emotions. The master I follow publicly killed a leader of Huyang Guard Chen Yuchong, and also killed the eternal true god of the 5 great families, Mei Wuqi. The Haiming Legion watched and didn't dare to intervene. And just now, the sinful cities over 100 million true gods were released by the master, and the city owner's mansion pushed the blame onto Mei Wuqi, not faulting the master at all. If he passed the test, he hoped to become a disciple. The apprenticeship opportunity my father sought, but this future master of mine, I find him difficult to read. I only know he is very strong and also compassionate to the weak, thought Mo Yu Qingyang, her admiration for Luo Feng growing even more. Massive numbers of Huyang guards shuttled through the void to arrive, and they were all guiding those sinful city survivors. As one of the 10 leaders of the Huyang Guard, Gao Wu Shui was naturally present. I have no way to deal with Mei Wuqi, but Lord Luo He openly killed him, and not even the Haiming Legion dared to stop him. Gao Wu Shui also felt a great deal of shock at this moment. He realized the importance of strength. With great power, openly killing Mei Wuqi, even the city owner's mansion has to endure it. As a newly promoted eternal true god with weak power, even taking on the position of leader of Huyang Guard, I need my master's help. The joy Gao Wu Shui had felt at advancing to an eternal true god had already faded. He realized that, while they were both eternal true gods, the disparity between them was shockingly huge. The ones standing at the very pinnacle of Huyang City were his master Mo Li Xiao, the leader of Shi Kingdom's forces, divine monarch Shui Yun, and this Lord Luo He. I am still very weak, very weak. Gao Wu Shui turned his head to oversee the Huyang guards working below him. The task of settling the hundreds of millions of citizens from Sinful City was not to be taken lightly. Asterisk 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 asterisk. In a short time, all the major powers within Huyang City knew what had happened. At the very top of Sky Cloud Tower, Chairman Zon Yun looked down upon the vast city that was shrouded in clouds and mists, flipped his hand, and took out a transmission token. Divine Monarch Shui Yun, Chairman Zon Yun initiated contact, with a tone somewhat humbler. On the surface, he was just conducting regular business, not participating in any killings. Therefore, the city owner's mansion could tolerate his existence. After all, as a large border trade city, it naturally had to accommodate many business forces from the neighboring Shi Kingdom. Chairman Zon Yun was very clear that in the eyes of the Marquis, his role was not highly valued. It was the super-strong like Divine Monarch Shui Yun who were the Marquis' confidants. Chairman Zon Yun, contacting me suddenly, do you have something to say? Divine Monarch Shui Yun responded. I had visited Luo He before, and he paid little attention to me, yet he had quite a few dealings with the city owner's mansion, said Chairman Zon Yun, but the incident tonight shows that there has been a rift between Lord Luo He and the city owner's mansion. Divine Monarch Shui Yun transmitted, This Lord Luo, he is a loner, with no attachments. From his actions, he shows a hatred for evil, acting immediately when provoked. With our way of doing things, he will also view us as enemies. Chairman Zon Yun was taken aback. Yes, the forces of Shi Kingdom acted ruthlessly, even more notorious than Mei Wu Qi in causing trouble. Wait patiently for our opportunity. The 5 great families of Huyang won't endure this silently, transmitted divine monarch Shui Yun. And from the current intelligence, Lord Luo, he is very strong, no less than me. Once they fight, it's likely they will both struggle to handle each other. Lord Luo, he, not inferior to you, divine monarch Shui Yun? Chairman Zon Yun was quite astonished, knowing full well the might of divine monarch Shui Yun. In his view, one-on-one, divine monarch Shui Yun should be even stronger than Commander Mo Li Xiao. After all, Commander Mo Li Xiao led legions and had the grand formation of Huyang City to bolster his strength. Despite several confrontations, he could not capture divine monarch Shui Yun. Yes, he is very powerful. Divine monarch Shui Yun affirmed, defeating Purple Jade Gen is not difficult, but what's hard to believe is, his hand pierced through the body of Purple Jade Gen, and Purple Jade Gen is a Legion-class mechanical treasure. Mo Li Xiao must have also realized the terrifying aspect of this Lord Luo He. Flame Wind Pavilion. A single hand piercing through the body of Purple Jade Gen, such strong power, the master of the Flame Wind Pavilion looked forward with anticipation. Now, what I'm most looking forward to is the outcome of Ying Kang going against this Lord Luo He. A nearby figure shrouded in grey mist commented admiringly, Ying Kang is renowned, having killed many powerful beings, even offspring of the primal chaos overlord, and still lives to this day. His strength is indeed terrifying. This battle will surely be spectacular. The master of the Flame Wind Pavilion shook his head and lamented, it's a pity we can't see the details of this battle. Right now, Flame Wind Pavilion was the only place in the whole of Huyang City that knew Lord Luo he was about to face an assassination. Outside Cave Mansion number 913 of the Primal Chaos Armor, in the night sky, a grey-robed figure was concealed. Ying Kang was waiting there. He went to Dream Flower Tower, but in the end, he must return to the Cave Mansion. The moment he returns to the Cave Mansion is when his guard is down, and it will be the time for me to make my move, Ying Kang murmured to himself. If one was to assassinate Luo Feng, the Flame Wind Pavilion would be commissioned for detailed intelligence. Any movement Luo Feng made, once spotted by Flame Wind Pavilion, would be communicated to Ying Kang. This service was expensive, but Ying Kang did not care. This Luo he is quite compassionate to the weak, turning against the 5 great families of Huyang for the sake of those slaughtered weaklings. Ying Kang read the intel provided by Flame Wind Pavilion and found it amusing. This Luo he and I have different characters. I quietly kill my targets, leaving no trace whatsoever. He, on the other hand, is brazen. He publicly launched his attack in front of the Huyang Legion. One hand pierced through the body of Purple Jade Gen. He is quite strong indeed. I wonder if he can withstand my stealth assassination. Ying Kang was unconcerned. The mechanical flow secret treasures from the Huyang Guard he simply disregarded. He waited patiently. Time was passing, and Ying Kang was very patient. Suddenly, a flying boat descended swiftly from high in the sky toward the cave mansion. As it neared, the door of the mansion opened automatically. His back. Stowing away the flying boat, Luo Feng, Morosa, and Moyu Qingyang flew down together. Primal Chaos Armor Chamber number 913, this was Luo Feng's own mansion. When Luo Feng returned to the mansion, he naturally relaxed considerably. This was a common trait among most living beings. They would relax a lot when they came home. Moreover, his absolute confidence in his own strength made Luo Feng quite at ease. Luo Sa, follow me, Luo Feng ordered. Coming. Morosa gleefully followed by Luo Feng's side, while Moyu Qingyang obediently headed toward the small building next to the main gate, as he was to guard the door. At this moment, Luo Feng and Morosa had no inkling of Ying Kang, who was hidden in the sky outside the mansion. Ying Kang, skilled in stealth and assassination, became nearly indistinguishable from the surroundings when he concealed himself, as if he were a part of space itself. Even Luo Feng and Morosa, who were extremely sensitive to aura, did not notice his presence. Luo Feng and Morosa were just about to fly to the underground palace. It was at this precise moment. Chem. Luo Feng's expression changed slightly as a figure in a grey robe appeared in front of him as if teleporting. The figure's eyes seemed like endless vortices fixated on Luo Feng, while a shadow of a blade in his hand had already pierced into Luo Feng's body. Indeed, at the instant Luo Feng noticed, the blade had already stabbed into his godly body. Die. The formation around the mansion was like child's play before Yin Kang. After all, the small mansion along with its formation was worth only 500 cosmic sand. This formation could only slightly delay an ordinary eternal true god for a short while, and it could be completely ignored in the face of an existence like Yin Kang. The grand formation of Huyang City is in operation, spatially sealed. Aside from the city owner's mansion's team, other powerhouses can't traverse the void, Luo Feng thought in surprise as the blade pierced his godly body, yet this assassin could forcefully traverse the void. His mastery over spatial realms is probably very high. The spatial seal of Huyang City doesn't mean outsiders can't traverse the void at all, such as the primal chaos overlord who could forcefully do so. This assassin, capable of moving through the void within Huyang City, obviously had significant ability. Where did such a terrifying expert come from? Luo Feng was slightly puzzled. Even if the 5 great families wanted to retaliate, they couldn't find such an expert in a short time. This expert's methods didn't match those of any eternal true god within Huyang City. Die. Yin Kang's murderous intent was biting. After this stab, a phantom sword shadow directly targeted the soul inside Luo Feng's true god's heart, seeking to completely destroy the soul. At the same time, this stab released a terrifying force inside Luo Feng's body, its destructiveness beyond belief. Even with Luo Feng's perfect divine body and having undergone 2 rounds of body refinement, he was still collapsing and annihilated before this horrific force. It was comparable to an ordinary move of a primal chaos realm master. This stab was the culmination of Yin Kang's achievements, targeting both the godly body and the soul. If either defense failed, death was certain. This soul attack isn't very powerful. Star Tower protected the true god's heart, while Luo Feng's spiritual will counteracted the phantom sword shadow ahead of time. His spiritual will, having reached the peak of primal chaos overlord and constantly honed by the great destruction heart refining technique, was not the least bit afraid of external assaults. Boom tilde tilde tilde. Luo Feng's spiritual will, like an immovable blade, collided with the phantom sword shadow, causing the latter to directly collapse. What strong spiritual will! Yin Kang was inwardly shocked by the collapse of the phantom sword shadow, but, my stab targeted both the soul and the godly body, your godly body will still be annihilated. Usually, even if the soul could resist, it would be affected by the shock, leading to vulnerabilities in the godly body's defense. Even if one didn't die after being stabbed once, Yin Kang's next 2 or 3 stabs would usually suffice. The soul attack is negligible, Luo Feng thought as he felt the stab's destruction of his godly body, but the damage to the godly body is quite severe. This one stab has destroyed about 1/10,000th of my godly body. Luo Feng was still shocked. After all, as a being with a perfect divine body, the reservoir of his divine power was frighteningly vast. To be able to destroy 1/10,000th of his godly body with a single stab was indeed a fearsome attack. After all, I've only recently made the breakthrough to Eternal True God, and I haven't even completed 3 rounds of the standard body refining secret technique Primal Chaos Great Strength Diagram, and my understanding of the Primal Chaos laws is still rather shallow. Faced with this attack, Luo Feng immediately realized his accumulations were still relatively weak. He was merely withstanding it by virtue of his perfect divine body. HMPH. With a single thought from Luo Feng, a small cosmic domain descended, and darkness immediately enveloped the area surrounding the mansion. At the same time, Luo Feng stretched out his hand, instantly igniting divine power, and his arm swelled as his palm crushed down with an unmatched might. Whoosh! In the face of this palm, Yin Kang dared not resist. Knowing it could penetrate the body of Purple Jade General, he didn't think his own body was as strong as a mechanical flow treasure, so he instantly transformed into a mist, flickering away and avoiding the terrifying palm strike from Luo Feng. Such a peculiar movement technique, Luo Feng remarked as a dazzling set of golden armor appeared on his body, and pairs of resplendent golden wings unfurled. 6 pairs of golden wings spread out from Luo Feng's back. Luo Feng looked at Yin Kang as the forces of heaven and earth condensed into primal chaos currents. Rich and abundant primal chaos power filled every space, also suppressing and constraining Yin Kang. Control primal chaos? Yin Kang appeared not far away. His control of primal chaos is nearly akin to that of a real primal chaos overlord. Under this suppression, I can't even traverse the void. And he was unharmed after being struck by my sword. It could also be that his pretending to be unharmed. With a few more strikes, he might die. Yin Kang, with his rich experience, was very confident in his killing moves. His sword was a single-entity mechanical treasure, the sword of the world's core, which excelled at condensing divine power to a high intensity. Shou wings could also condense and transform divine power, but its formidable strength came from Luo Feng's overpowering perfect divine power. Once condensed and transformed, it could rival the divine power of a primal chaos overlord. Yin Kang's divine power, however, was significantly inferior to Luo Feng's. It was only by relying on the sword of the world's core that he could condense his power to a level nearly on par with the primal chaos overlord's divine power. This sword had only one function, condensing primal chaos divine power, and because of this, it was valued at more than 1,000,000 cosmic sand. As for the killing move he executed just now, it was something Yin Kang had comprehended on his own. It was quite normal for eternal true gods of formidable strength to devise 1 or 2 primal chaos realm moves. Only when they comprehended many moves and accumulated deeper knowledge could they aspire to master the complete primal chaos laws and become a primal chaos overlord. Yin Kang turned into a wisp of mist and, in a flash, pressed in on Luo Feng. Luo Feng's Shou wings unfolded, controlling the primal chaos to suppress the area around him. Yin Kang was unable to penetrate the void, but his agility and speed in flight were still superior to Luo Feng's. Phut! Yin Kang closed the distance in an instant, with a shadow of his sword striking swiftly. Luo Feng tried to block with his hands, unleashing Shou wings that lashed out like wing blades, a power at the eternal true god stage, possibly even stronger than the Bloodshadow knife. Despite his hands and wings, Luo Feng could not touch Yin Kang. Yin Kang's sword was unpredictable and mysterious, seemingly traversing the void even under the suppression of the primal chaos currents, occasionally leaving a sword mark on Luo Feng's body. Each strike was less powerful than the initial sneak attack move but still destroyed and obliterated vast amounts of Luo Feng's divine power. His accumulated knowledge at the eternal true god stage is too profound, his realm of techniques is higher than mine, Luo Feng thought, relying entirely on his perfect divine body acquired from his second body refinement and burning his divine power, allowing him to crash through. But his techniques were indeed crude. The formidable opponents I've encountered before were all very close to my own realm. After a failed sneak attack, it was hard for me to land additional blows. This Lord Luo his techniques are so rough I can strike freely. To be considered a formidable opponent by him, one generally had to have deep accumulations at the eternal true god stage, and might even comprehend primal chaos realm moves. Luo Feng had only deciphered 3 out of the 6 world-breaking 9 blades moves on the eternal level, indicating that his accumulation was still relatively shallow. Had I known his realm was so weak, I could have killed him straightforwardly, Yin Kang thought. In this brief engagement, he's been struck by my sword 12 times already. His godly body should almost be at its limit. Forget it, fighting you doesn't help my blade technique. Luo Feng suddenly shook his head and sighed. When the skill disparity was too great and one-sided, there was no effect from sharpening one's skills. Luo Feng waved his hand. Boom tilde 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 tilde. A mighty blood-colored river spread out, engulfing the entire cave mansion in an instant, as well as Yin Kang. Luo Feng's second mechanical flow treasure, the Lifeblood River, was obtained from the Blood Python Association leader. Shou Wings and Lifeblood River, as eternal mechanical flow singular treasures, contained primal chaos realm moves. Since his own realm was not sufficient, he might as well wield the primal chaos realm moves inside the mechanical flow treasures. Merely using 1% of his own divine power to control the Lifeblood River, it was already vast and overwhelming, covering Yin Kang and naturally starting to suppress, restrain, erode, and destroy Yin Kang's godly body. Why is the lifeblood river so powerful? Yin Kang's complexion changed. Under the guidance of Luo Feng's perfect divine power, the mechanical flow treasure in his hands naturally unleashed its formidable might. The control primal chaos of Sho Wu wings and the erosion and destruction of the lifeblood river doubled down to suppress Yin Kang, who then sensed the threat of death. Not good, I need to get out of here fast. In an instant, Yin Kang deployed his escape mechanical flow treasure. Having taken assassination missions for so long and still being alive, his abilities to save himself were extraordinary. Whoosh! In an instant, Yin Kang transformed into a streak of Liu Guang, tearing through the raging blood river and breaking through the primal chaos obstruction, attempting to escape. What a waste of my time, all for nothing, thought Yin Kang escaping, as he flashed past Morosa and Mo Yu Qingyang, who were trembling in fear at a distance in a small building. Luo, he only has 2 servants, let both the servants die. Yin Kang was always one to kill as he pleased, and his escaping light naturally swept across that small building. Whoosh tilde. Standing at the edge of the small building, Morosa, with a terrified expression, suddenly opened his mouth, which became enormous, spanning half the cave mansion and swallowed the Liu Guang that Yin Kang had become. Get out of here! A roar came from within the mouth as Yin Kang fought back frantically. Gulp! Morosa swallowed hard, completely ingesting it. He grinned at Luo Feng from a distance. Master, he happened to rush right to my mouth. Sho Wu wings unfolded behind Luo Feng. As he stepped along the rolling blood river and saw this scene, he originally planned to execute the Lai Yuan technique, but upon seeing Morosa's gaping maw, Luo Feng stopped as well. Without the Lai Yuan technique, I'm indeed much weaker than Morosa, Luo Feng acknowledged upon witnessing this scene. I have a perfect divine body, and so does he, but in terms of realm, he is much higher than I am. Just this one swallow. It seems simple, but in reality, it approaches the primal chaos realm. With a surprise attack, even that assassin couldn't escape. Luo Feng was very clear about the strength of the assassin. Under the suppression of controlling primal chaos, even with both hands and the wings employing blade technique, he couldn't touch the assassin. Yet, with just an open mouth and a swallow, Morosa caught the assassin who couldn't dodge. And Morosa's perfect divine body is even more resilient. The assassin's sword could pierce my godly body, but when it reached Morosa's mouth was undamaged. From just this one swallow, Luo Feng saw a lot. Morosa, who possessed the great Tao of Destruction origin, would grow stronger with each swallow, his comprehension of the great Tao of Destruction origin deepening until the moment he fully mastered it. Even with talent like Luo Feng's, he felt the gap between them. Morosa is a perfect life form by nature, while I've cultivated myself into one. As a sector beast, he naturally possesses destruction of the origin, his life essence equivalent to the primordial cosmos. I am somewhat weaker, I need to cultivate and comprehend step by step. Of course, I am his master. Luo Feng revealed a smile. Morosa took only 2 steps to reach Luo Feng's side. Seeing his master's smile, he felt somewhat anxious and quickly said, Master, I didn't go against your orders. The moves I used were all normal ones. I'm not blaming you, Luo Feng said with a smile. When he first arrived at the land of origin, Luo Feng strictly ordered that even if it meant death, Morosa must not reveal his sector beast identity. If exposed, it would attract the attention of the truly terrifying beings of the land of origin, and that would be the end. The power Morosa wielded was normal divine power, and the moves he exhibited were also typical. Naturally, Luo Feng would not blame him. Is the assassin dead? Luo Feng asked. Once I swallowed him into my body, he was dead, Morosa nodded. With an equally perfect divine body, Morosa utilized it more perfectly, unleashing a more terrifying strength. He carried a karmic messenger order. Did he have time to transmit my strength before he died? Morosa suddenly worried. Did he say you're also a powerful eternal true god? Luo Feng shook his head. Don't worry. Even if it's revealed, it's no big deal. Super strong eternal true gods are not rare. Every large city can find a few, and their number across the whole land of origin is even larger. Even if the outside world learns that both master and servant are powerful eternal true gods, it's just a trivial matter. I acted very quickly, and at that time, all he wanted was to survive, struggling with all his might. He died the instant I swallowed him, so he probably didn't have time to transmit a message, Morosa said. These are all his remaining possessions, including the cosmic sand. With a wave of his hand, Morosa made a pile of items appear beside him, including the sword of the world's core from before. This time, unable to withstand the impulse to act, Morosa worried his master would blame him, so he didn't dare to keep any of the spoils of war to himself. If you need anything while following me, just tell me. Luo Feng didn't refuse and accepted all the treasures. After all, Morosa would naturally grow stronger, so being poor wasn't an issue. Luo Feng himself was the one most in need of resources. Only if he became strong enough could he protect this sector beast in the land of origin someday. Then I'll go into seclusion first, to assimilate this, Morosa said. Luo Feng beckoned, collecting Morosa into the Star Tower. Inside one floor of the Star Tower's space. Looking at the corpses of the two eternal true gods, Commander Qianyu Chong and Mei Wu Qi, lying before him, Morosa couldn't help but smile. The master also cares a lot about me, purposely preserving the bodies of these eternal true gods. If Luo Feng hadn't deliberately preserved them, their bodies would have long since turned to ash. Luo Feng still maintained his small cosmic domain, enveloping the entire cave mansion. He glanced at the damaged mansion and the scene within the small cosmic domain shifted, rocks and soil consolidating to begin repairing the mansion. Qingyang, you can come out now, Luo Feng called out. As a true god, Qingyang had been hiding in a small building, terrified. Barely touched by that skirmish, he would have been no more. Therefore, when Luo Feng employed the small cosmic domain, he also deliberately protected Moyu Qingyang. Of course, Moyu Qingyang did not witness the ensuing confrontation. Under the cover of the small cosmic domain, if Luo Feng didn't want him to see, he wouldn't be able to. Master, Moyu Qingyang ventured out of the small building and looked around before asking, Master, where is Lord Luo Sa? During this time, the master hadn't instructed him. But Lord Luo Sa often gave him guidance, and Moyu Qingyang was very grateful to Morosa. Now, not seeing Morosa, Moyu Qingyang worried. Had Lord Luo Sa been affected and died? Rest assured, he's in seclusion, Luo Feng said. The battle is over, don't think too much, and go on with your cultivation. After speaking, Luo Feng flew toward the pavilion atop the high mountain. Yes, master, Moyu Qingyang respectfully complied. He was indeed unsettled by the harrowing experiences of late. ********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************* pavilion sat opposite each other, both guessing that with Luo Feng coming out of seclusion, the long-awaited Ying Kang would 9 times out of 10 make a move. There's a result. The figure in the grey mist looked at the message before him. Ying Kang actually died. He was famously known for his strong survival skills. Not only did the assassination attempt on Lord Luo he fail, but he also lost his life. Uncle, are you sure Ying Kang is dead? The master of the Flame Wind Pavilion was somewhat surprised. Even with his unlimited godly body, he dared not claim he could completely kill Ying Kang. Defeating was easy, killing was hard. His karma has completely dissipated. Through the karmic messenger order, we could lock onto his position. When he died, he was in the cave mansion where Lord Luo he was. The figure in the grey mist said. This was also the reason why Luo Feng had always avoided using the karmic messenger order. Some powerful forces were able to use the karmic messenger order to lock onto positions. Without using the karmic messenger order, those major forces, even if they deduced some vague karmic ties of Luo Feng, could only determine whether the karma existed or not, but would find it difficult to lock onto his position. The karma has dissipated, and it's within Lord Luo his cave mansion. The master of the Flame Wind Pavilion nodded. This Lord Luo he is unfathomable. Even he, a scion of Emperor Chu's lineage from the Flame Wind ancient country, possessing unlimited godly bodies and profoundly deep accumulations at the eternal true god tier, and cultivating the very top inheritances of the land of origin, felt wary of Luo Feng. This Lord Luo he is either of very high realm or has an extremely formidable killer move. The figure in the grey mist also speculated. Luo Feng sat in a pavilion atop a high mountain, drinking alone. As he drank, he reflected on this exchange. The strength of the assassin, the strength of Morosa, it all proves one point: my weakness in the realm aspect. Luo Feng pondered. Godly body, will, and realm, these three aspects. His godly body was a perfect divine body, undeniably strong, which was his absolute advantage. That was why he was willing to use a lot of resources for body refinement, further increasing this advantage. Will, at the pinnacle of primal chaos dominator level, Luo Feng had never slacked off in that regard. He spent most of his time cultivating the heart-honing secret method within the Lai Yuan technique. As for the realm, it was relatively weak. The realm was the most important of the three aspects. To step into the primal Chaos Lord realm, to reach the Godly King tier, one must attain a sufficiently high level in the realm. Once the recent trivial matters are resolved, I need to calm down and focus on comprehending the primal chaos laws, thought Luo Feng, but those 5 great families probably won't let things go easily. Having just experienced a great battle, Luo Feng was on high alert. He sensed a presence arriving outside of his cave mansion, and upon close inspection, he saw Moli Meng retracting the flying boat, landing in front of the mansion's gate. "Brother Luo He, I'm right outside the main entrance of your cave mansion," communicated Moli Meng politely. The main gate opened, and the formation revealed a passage. Moli Meng flew in and immediately noticed some geographical changes within the entire cave mansion. Some old buildings were gone, and a few new constructions had appeared. Whoosh! Moli Meng flew to the top of the high mountain and saw Luo Feng sitting there drinking. "Brother Luo He," Moli Meng said with a smile. "I just went through a big battle and did some repairs on this cave mansion." Luo Feng sat on top of the mountain with a puzzled look towards Moli Meng. "I just offended the 5 great families at the Dream Flower Tower, and upon returning to my mansion, I immediately faced an assassination." "Was the assassin sent by your 5 great families?" Why the assassin came and who the assassin was, Luo Feng still didn't know. "No, it wasn't our 5 great families," Moli Meng replied anxiously. The city owner's mansion monitored that there was an ultra-strong energy fluctuation at Brother Luo His mansion. The intensity of the fluctuation was even stronger than when you killed the blood python leader. The 5 great families were also worried about misunderstandings, so they asked me to come explain. "Explain?" Luo Feng continued drinking, letting Moli Meng stand there. "Then explain to me, how did the assassin come so quickly and with such prowess? If not sent by you, then who sent him? We of the 5 great families are very clear about your strength, Brother Luo He. Within a short time, no one in Huyang City could have been hired to dare confront you," explained Moli Meng. Luo Feng listened. "In my opinion, it could be one of your past enemies or maybe a message sent by the blood python leader before his death that attracted some strong outsider," Moli Meng suggested. "In any case, it's unlikely anyone from Huyang City would make a move." Luo Feng looked at him. "Is that all you've come to explain?" Moli Meng chuckled. "I trust Brother Luo He has his own judgment. If there's nothing else, you may leave," Luo Feng urged, without a hint of politeness. The act of the 5 great families allowing Mei Wu Qi to massacre billions of civilians had made Luo Feng quite displeased with them. "Brother Luo He, my Moli clan has no intention of being your enemy," Moli Meng shook his head. "My father, Moli Xiao, has long issued an order forbidding conflict with you, Brother Luo He." Luo Feng listened. "But the other families are used to being high and mighty." Moli Meng shook his head. "You directly publicly killed one of their members, and they simply cannot tolerate it. I do have a method. Brother Luo He, if you would condescend to become the vice commander of the Huyang Legion, in this way, you'd become one of the high-ranking members of Huyang City, as well as part of our 5 great families. You can get out now." Luo Feng's voice was cold. Moli Meng was taken aback, could only stand up to bow. "Brother Luo He should understand, some of the 5 great families purely seek pleasure, some are here to get things done. Our Moli clan is one that works hard. We don't wish to be your enemy, but if you do not budge, I can tell you they will not let things rest. I know their temperament very well." Luo Feng smiled faintly, a coldness in his smile. Seeing that smile, Moli Meng felt a sudden chill, as if he glimpsed a river of blood. I will try my best to mediate the matter, and should there be any special circumstances, I will also communicate and notify Brother Luo He, Mo Li Meng said before turning to leave by himself. At this moment, within the city owner's mansion, 5 divine power incarnations sat in a great hall, the leaders of the 5 great families. Mo Li Meng has already left Luo his cave mansion. Commander Mo Li Xiao sat there, his purple horn-shaped crown like a king's crown, his face somewhat aged, and his eyes calm. Luo He has just been the target of an assassination. He suspects that it was an assassin sent by us and has rejected the position of deputy commander of the Huyang Legion. We sent Mo Li Meng over to explain, already conceding face to Luo He. The Lord of Huyang City frowned slightly. Offering him the position of vice commander of the Huyang Legion is the highest rank we can offer. Higher positions such as the city lord and commander are directly appointed by the royal capital. The rank they offered was equivalent to the 3rd highest within Huyang City, and higher. The 5 great families had no right to appoint such positions privately. It was their utmost sincerity. We gave him a chance to calm down, and he rejected it. A figure with white hair shook his head gently. We took the initiative to compromise, and yet he still refused. A figure cloaked in blood-colored scales said with a cold gaze, "Our 5 great families consist of 2 royal families and 3 primal chaos families. We suppressed the dissent within our families and took a step back first, but he was unwilling to accept our kindness. As the leader of the Wu clan branch that had come to Huyang, Brother Wu naturally bore arrogance. They were willing to step back only because Luo Feng was powerfully strong. All the leaders of the 5 great families knew that no matter how significant the background, respect for the opponent's strength was a must. We backed down, but this Luo He refuses to," said the leader of the Meiwu clan, his body adorned with leaves and branches, emanating a rich aura of life. He leisurely said, "We can recognize the big picture, but many eternal true gods among our 5 great families cannot swallow this affront." Everyone present understood this point. As the leaders of the family branches in Huyang City, they were quite competent. However, the many family members under them were quite ordinary. Years of indulgence had accustomed these family members to lofty statuses, and they found it even harder to tolerate the defiance of Lord Luo He. The leaders of the 5 great families also had to consider the emotions within their families. We gave him an opportunity, and he didn't want it. Then let's spend some price and get rid of him. The figure in blood-colored scales spoke indifferently. Even if we can't kill him, we must make him stay hidden forever, just like Shueyun, never daring to show his face. Shueyun, the leader of the Shi Kingdom's forces, had been hiding all along. If he were to expose himself, he would immediately be attacked by the 5 great families. Inside Huyang City, the 5 great families had the advantage of the terrain, and Shueyun could only stay hidden. Brother Wu, I've said it before, hire an outsider strong enough to eliminate him, the leader of the Meiwu family also said with a smile. The lands of the Yu Kingdom are vast and brimming with strong individuals, certainly some are stronger than Shueyun, stronger than river god Luo He. I do not agree with this matter, Commander Mo Li Xiao stated coldly. Mo Li, you can endure this, the figure in the blood-colored scales scoffed, you may endure it, but my Wu clan cannot. The Wu clan, being of a godly king lineage, naturally had extraordinary pride. Shueyun is the leader of the Shi Kingdom's forces, our sworn enemy. But Luo He is merely a leisurely eternal true god, there really is no need to drive him into opposing us, Commander Mo Li Xiao calmly stated. Even if we do invite an outsider strong enough, you all know very well that it's easy to defeat him, but hard to kill. If Luo He survives the assassination attempt, he will only harbor deeper hatred towards us. Having a formidable enemy in the shadows all the time is not something favorable. We don't care about the Shi Kingdom, are we afraid of a Luo He? The figure in the blood-colored scales snorted coldly. Lord Tsumeng, what do you think? We stepped back, he disregarded it. For the sake of stability within the 5 great families, I think it's time to take action, said the Lord of Huyang City. Commander Mo Li Xiao shook his head slightly. The white-haired figure also said, I think we should think it over. We too have decided, so this matter can be settled, the figure in blood-colored scales stated. If the city lord and Brother Wu agree, then I agree too, the leader of the Meiwu family said with a smile. There is no need to argue over this matter anymore. The lord of Huyang City was from the royal family's Tsuman clan. The figure in blood-colored scales, Wu Kulu, was the leader of another royal family, the Wu clan. The stature of these two royal families' branches in Huyang City was slightly higher than that of the three great primal chaos families, less tolerant of provocations. Then I'll begin preparing for this matter, the leader of the Meiwu family said, as he also purchased all the information on Lord Luo He from the Flamewind Pavilion. Since they were going to make a move, naturally, they needed to thoroughly understand the opponent's background. Information, with time, changes. Therefore, they had to buy the most recent information. In the future when there's trouble, they'll only hide behind, Commander Moli Xiao said resignedly. With the two royal families making this decision, and the Meiwu family supporting it, he and the Jiang family were powerless to stop it. Something is strange, the leader of the Meiwu family expressed some doubt. The other four leaders looked at him. I tried to purchase the latest information on Lord Luo He from the Flamewind Pavilion. His information actually costs a full 5,000 cosmic sands, the leader of the Meiwu family said somberly, looking at his four companions. Just one piece of information, selling for so expensive? When he made a move on Chenyu Chong and Meiwu Qi, I bought his information. It only cost 100 cosmic sands at that time, the white-haired figure exclaimed in surprise. Not even a night has passed, and the price of his information has skyrocketed this much. My entire information also only costs 500 cosmic sands, Commander Moli Xiao said incredulously. Shuiyun's entire information, likewise, is 500 cosmic sands. But this Lord Luo He, it costs 5,000 cosmic sands. They were well aware that the Flamewind Pavilion's pricing system was systematic, a complete structure established by the Flamewind ancient country, never arbitrary. Try buying it to see what's the situation, the Lord of Huyang City instructed. 5,000 cosmic sands, they did not care about the cost. What they cared about was, just one piece of information selling for so high, making the leaders of the five great families a bit nervous. All right. The leader of the Meiwu family immediately purchased the information. Unable to believe what he saw, the leader of the Meiwu family said, the information from the Flamewind Pavilion states that a very powerful eternal true god Yin Kang, just tonight, died within Luo his cave mansion. The customer's transaction information with the Flamewind Pavilion would not be sold by the pavilion. But through the karmic messenger order, determining Yin Kang's death was a capability of the Flamewind Pavilion itself. Any customer holding a karmic messenger order, upon death, the Flamewind Pavilion could instantly confirm it and even pinpoint the location. Even without a karmic messenger order, unable to pinpoint the location, as long as there had been an interaction, a karmic connection would arise. The Flamewind Pavilion could also judge whether the karma existed or not. If it existed, it meant they were alive. If it disappeared, it signified death. Yin Kang, he died inside Lord Luo his cave mansion? Everyone present turned pale. Yin Kang's strength is beyond doubt. He possessed not just one mechanical flow secret treasure but also deduced several primal chaos realm moves on his own. And his ability to escape is even more formidable, Commander Moli Xiao said. He once killed a child of the primal chaos overlord in the Shi Kingdom, which enraged the primal chaos overlord greatly. Elite troops were sent to pursue and assassinate him. It is said he survived several assassination attempts and ultimately managed to flee into our Yu Kingdom. After all, since there was conflict between the Yu Kingdom and the Shi Kingdom, the elite troops of the primal chaos overlord were reluctant to brazenly continue the assassination within the Yu Kingdom. The primal chaos overlord had over 300 children and was already of the mind to toughen, screen, and eliminate them. The death of one didn't warrant a strong pursuit, which was also a reason Yin Kang managed to escape. If it had been one of those primal chaos overlords with only a few children, killing their child would likely have led to personal pursuit, even enlisting friends' help that would truly leave nowhere to run. Even so, the fact that Yin Kang survived made his reputation soar. He could survive under the pursuit of the elite troops sent by the primal chaos overlord, yet he died inside Lord Luo his cave mansion? The leaders of the five great families felt a chill in their hearts. Luo Feng leisurely sat in a pavilion at the peak of the mountain, drinking. Life wasn't just about cultivation. After the great battle, all Luo Feng wanted was to relax and reflect on himself. Chem. Luo Feng looked towards the entrance of the cave mansion with curiosity. Mo Li Meng left not long ago, why has he returned? It was still Mo Li Meng's flying boat. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. 3 figures flew down. Mo Li Meng was accompanied by an older man with a similar appearance but thinner and a 3-eyed man with a tail of purple gold scales. Commander Mo Li Xiao and the city lord are here? Luo Feng was surprised. The commander and the city lord were the 2 highest officials in Huyang City. Qingyang, go and open the door, Luo Feng instructed from afar. Yes. Moyu Qingyang immediately went to open the main door, and upon seeing the 3 figures outside, he couldn't help but be startled. Commander Mo Li Xiao and the lord of Huyang City? As the only current doorkeeper in the cave mansion, Moyu Qingyang had already received information from his master and was familiar with all the eternal true gods in Huyang City. With such visitors, he at least could recognize them. The master asks you to come in, said Moyu Qingyang, suppressing his nervousness. He, a mere true god, when had he ever interacted with a commander and a city lord? They don't come out to greet us in person but only send a servant to open the door. It seems there is still some dissatisfaction. The lord of Huyang City communicated to his companions telepathically. If I had his strength, I would be even more dissatisfied. Commander Mo Li Xiao sent back through telepathy. The city lord and the commander flew together towards the pavilion on the high mountain, with Mo Li Meng following behind. Inside the pavilion, Luo Feng sat there, drinking, with several wine jars by his side, clearly having consumed quite a bit. For both the city lord and the commander to come together, you truly honor me, Luo Feng said with a smile that was not quite a smile as he looked at them. Please, have a seat. From beginning to end, Luo Feng remained seated. Thinking of how they condoned Mei Wu Qi's massacre of millions of citizens, Luo Feng didn't feel like standing up. Lord Luo He, lamented the lord of Huyang City, the matter with Mei Wu Qi is indeed our fault. As the city lord, while I have a say within the family, I still can't completely control those eternal true gods within my clan. Your intervention this time was a good thing. It can make them truly fear. The 5 great families should indeed thank Lord Luo He, said Commander Mo Li Xiao. We'll still say within the 5 great families that the Lord did well by acting. If such things are found in the future, you can continue to kill. We believe this will better deter the eternal true gods of the 5 great families. Luo Feng was surprised. The 5 great families had conceded. This is our 5 great families' way of making amends. The Lord of Huyang City proactively stepped forward with a jade vial. It contains some items to aid in cultivation. We hope it can resolve the enmity between the Lord and our 5 great families. Luo Feng, with a sweep of his divine power, was somewhat astonished. Within the jade vial was a pond-like pale white liquid, the so-called blood of Yi beast from within the Yu kingdom, well known for its reputation. Consuming it was like merging with the primal chaos, extremely beneficial for deciphering the law of primal chaos. Just this one vial, Luo Feng estimated, was worth about 1 million cosmic sand. Lord Luo He, we mean what we say. If the eternal true gods of the 5 great families in Huyang City commit such acts again, please feel free to punish them according to the laws of the Yu kingdom. We will only support the Lord, Commander Mo Li Xiao stated. You both have me somewhat confused, Luo Feng said. Before now, more than one person told me that the 5 great families would not let things go. Mo Li Meng beside him felt somewhat embarrassed. He was the one who had said that, very familiar with the 5 great families, that they would not let things go. Ultimately, this world respects power, said Commander Mo Li Xiao. Now, complete information on Lord Luo He costs as much as 5,000 cosmic sand at the Flamewind Pavilion. We of the 5 great families naturally have to respect your strength. The moment they knew of his strength, the leaders of the 5 great families understood one thing. Within Huyang City, the city owner's mansion and the Shi Kingdom's forces represented 2 extremes. They clashed fiercely. Previously, there was one faction within Huyang City that was very transcendent. Neither the city owner's mansion nor the Shi Kingdom's forces dared to disturb it. That was the Flamewind Pavilion. Now in Huyang City, standing apart from these 2 extremes, in addition to the Flamewind Pavilion, was another, Lord Luo He. This video will end here.